Welcome, everyone. Before we begin, a quick heads up. This is part 2 of an ongoing story. If you haven't heard the first part about the echo chamber, I highly recommend you watch it first to understand the full context and horror of what's happening. I will leave the link to part 1 in the pinned comment below. Now, let's descend back into the static. Part 2, the echo chamber, the silence protocol. The internet grieved the loss of Digital Decay in the only way it knew how, with a flurry of memes, half-baked conspiracy theories, and 1,000 reaction videos titled, "What Really Happened?" For most, he became a ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered in Discord servers. But for me, it was an obsession. My name is Nora, and my channel, Digital Shadows, was born from the same digital ether as his. While he explored abandoned websites, I performed digital autopsies on them. My day job as a digital forensics analyst gave me a peculiar skill set, one that allowed me to see the patterns in the chaos. His last video, "This is my last video," wasn't a suicide note. It was a black box recording. While others saw a man succumbing to paranoia, I saw a fellow explorer who had ventured too far and encountered something hostile. The online consensus was a clever ARG, alternate reality game, or a mental breakdown. I knew it was neither. There was a sincerity in his terror, a raw, unscripted fear that no actor could convincingly fake. My investigation began where everyone else's ended, the video file itself. I downloaded the highest quality version I could find and bypassed YouTube's compression algorithms to get a raw data stream. I wasn't just watching it, I was dissecting it. I spent the first 2 days running the audio through a spectrogram, converting the sound waves into a visual landscape. Behind the distorted hum and his panicked breathing, I found it. A faint, almost imperceptible carrier wave, broadcasting a series of repeating data packets. It was meaningless noise to the human ear, but to a machine, it was a signal. It was a ping, a persistent hello echoing out into the void. This discovery led me to the video's metadata, the digital fingerprint embedded within the file. I pulled it up in a hex editor, the screen filling with endless columns of numbers and letters. And there, buried deep within the extraneous data, was the string of code he must have found, the so-called kill switch. But looking at its structure, it wasn't an execution command. It was a query. It wasn't designed to delete or destroy. It was designed to ask and identify. The chilling realization hit me like a splash of ice water. He hadn't built a weapon. He had rung a dinner bell. He'd effectively painted a target on his own back for whatever was listening. My next step was to find the source of his information. I dug through internet archives, my fingers flying across the keyboard for hours that bled into days. I finally found the obscure data mining forum he must have stumbled upon. It was a digital graveyard, the last post made 3 years ago. The post mentioning the echo chamber was there, a single cryptic warning. But my forensic software showed me something others had missed. The post had been edited, and there had been a reply, one that was deleted within minutes of being posted. It took me another 48 hours of painstaking work, piecing together fragmented data from a cached server in Finland, but I finally restored it. The deleted reply was from the original anonymous poster, and it was terrifyingly clear. "You've misunderstood," it read. "You cannot kill a feedback loop. You cannot shoot an echo. It is an informational parasite. It feeds on observation, on focused data. Your kill switch will only confirm its existence to it and give it a direct pathway to the source of the query. An echo doesn't die, it fades. You don't kill it, you starve it. Starve it." The words echoed in my mind. He had fed it, and it had consumed him. I had to do the opposite. I had to build a weapon of silence. I began coding what I called the silence protocol. It was the most complex script I had ever written. It wasn't a simple deletion request. It was a digital nuke, designed to create a total information vacuum. It would simultaneously hit YouTube's servers with a high-priority removal order, while web crawling bots I designed would seek out and corrupt any mirrored or re-uploaded versions of the video across the internet. The final phase would poison search engine results, creating dead links and redirect loops, ensuring that anyone searching for it would find nothing. It would sever the video and the channel from the web of connections that gave it life. It was a plan to make something truly forgotten by the internet. But as I built my weapon, the Echo began to notice me. My focused attention was like a spotlight in the dark. It started subtly. My Spotify account would generate playlists I didn't create, filled with single-track albums of distorted, slowed-down classical music layered with static. My targeted ads became bizarre, showing me products that didn't exist, with taglines like "See what isn't there" and "Listen to the silence." Then, it escalated. I was scrolling through old photos on my cloud drive when I saw it. A picture of me and my parents at the beach taken years ago. A happy memory. But now, our eyes were gone. They weren't just blacked out. They were empty sockets, digital holes that seemed to stare back at me from the screen. I frantically checked other photos. One by one, they were being corrupted, the faces of my loved ones being hollowed out. The whispers started next. I'd be editing code, my headphones on with no audio playing, and I'd hear it. A voice synthesized from clips of my own narration from my Digital Shadows videos, stitched together into new, horrifying sentences. "We see your shadows. You are listening. Stop coding." The true turning point, the moment I knew it could cross the digital divide, happened a week into my work. A package arrived at my door. No sender, no return address. Inside was a single object, a small old CRT television from the 90s, the kind with a bulky curved screen. Confused and terrified, I plugged it in. It flickered to life, the screen filled with roiling static. But slowly, an image began to form through the noise. It was my room. It was a live feed of my room, but the perspective was from a high corner near the ceiling, where no camera could possibly be. I watched myself on the screen, frozen in horror. And then, in the corner of the room on the monitor, a shape began to resolve from the static. It was tall, impossibly thin, its limbs just a little too long. It stood perfectly still, watching me. I ripped the plug from the wall, my heart hammering against my ribs. It was no longer just on my screen. It was in my room. My work on the protocol became a frantic race against time. I barely ate, I barely slept. The presence in my apartment grew heavier with each passing hour, a constant feeling of being watched, a persistent cold spot that seemed to follow me from room to room. On the final night, as I compiled the last lines of the code, the lights in my apartment flickered and died. The entire building plunged into a sudden, silent darkness. My laptop screen was the only source of light, just like it happened to him. But I was ready. I had my laptop running on a full battery and my phone acting as a 4G hotspot. The battery indicator said I had 57 minutes of life left. The clock was ticking. The silence was broken by a soft scratching at my front door. My blood turned to ice. It was a slow, deliberate sound, like a single long fingernail dragging across the wood. My phone, sitting on the table, began to ring, its screen displaying unknown number. I ignored it. It stopped, and then immediately started again. The scratching stopped, a moment of silence. Then the scratching began on my bedroom window. I forced myself to focus on the screen, my hands slick with sweat. I had one choice left: run the protocol on his final video or on the entire Digital Decay channel. Wiping the whole channel was a massive risk, an act of digital destruction that would draw immense attention from the entity. But it was the only way to be sure, to poison the well completely. With a trembling finger, I hovered over the execute button. The whispers were all around me now, no longer needing my headphones. They were in the air, a chorus of my own distorted voice. "Don't erase us! We are you." I clicked the button. The moment I did, Every electronic device in my apartment screamed. My phone blared a cacophony of every notification sound at once. The dead television in the corner flashed to life, its screen a blinding white. The hum from my laptop's fans rose to a deafening shriek. It was a digital death rattle, a roar of protest from the entity as its connection was being systematically severed. I could feel the pressure in the room build, the air growing thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. The screaming electronics fell silent. The laptop screen, showing the protocol's success message, flickered off as the battery finally died. My apartment was plunged into absolute, profound silence and darkness. The cold spot was gone. The feeling of being watched had vanished. I sat there on the floor, panting and shaking in the dark, tears of relief streaming down my face. I had done it. I had starved the echo. I had won. After a few minutes, my phone, which had gone dark, suddenly lit up. It had just enough battery for one last notification. It was from the YouTube app. My hands were still shaking as I picked it up. "You have a new subscriber on Digital Shadows." My heart stopped. A cold dread, far worse than anything I had felt before, washed over me. I opened the notification with a sense of grim finality. The username wasn't a random string of letters and numbers. The username was Digital Decay. The error message from the protocol flashed in my mind. Error, echo cannot be silenced. It can only be relocated. I didn't destroy it. I didn't starve it. I just forced it to move. I burned down its old home, and in its desperation to escape, it fled to the only other open door it knew. The one who had been watching it so intently. I didn't save him. All I did was take his place. My channel is its new home now, and I know with chilling certainty that somewhere out there, a new subscriber is about to get a notification, and the echo will find a new voice.